So one of the things I've enjoyed the most is actually kind of talking through the experience of that weekend with, with my wife or with friends, with my therapist. All those people are super interested to hear about it, which was really helpful. And I feel like sort of each time I have the chance to do it, it's a little more kind of coherent as a story. I keep thinking like, gosh, I guess I was like, Thursday afternoon to Sunday morning, like 60 hours. I'm like, I think I need about 60 hours to actually like describe the whole thing, like a one for one moment of experience to retelling it. But it definitely feels a little more kind of coherent as a story now to me. Um, a couple things. Let's see. I feel so unbelievably like lucky to be sitting in the Pacific Northwest in the middle of like kind of exploding springtime right now. Like just out my window here is like my yard is overgrown, but every flower is in bloom, like every tree is in bloom. Like it's just so enjoyable this year in a way that haven't. I mean, it's always nice to be in spring, but like it feels more sort of I'm more sort of like um grateful in my body of it, if that's one way to think of it. We have a really big, beautiful park near my house that's kind of my usual kind of walking loop. And I think somebody was mentioning or suggesting meditating in nature. And that has been so fantastic to like sit among some trees in that park and do my regular meditation, which I had done, sometimes before, but now it feels like I'm really like eager to do that almost every day. It's really nice. Um, I um, I had been one of the things that I had sort of been thinking a lot about before coming was kind of like work and kind of measuring up at work or being enough or like being valued in a way that felt appropriate and like really having spent a long time like kind of identifying with that. And it's been really helpful to have come away from that our experience thinking like really differently about that. Like I feel like I'm sort of at a um, feel like I can kind of separate like, oh, things can be annoying, like some project is annoying or some meeting is annoying or whatever. And like I can still feel like, oh, they should be, you know, um, I don't know, they should be paying me more or whatever. But I don't have to like, I don't feel quite as attached to those feelings or identified with them. Like it feels like that way of looking at things was just completely unnecessary, and like I can truly sort of see those things differently now. Like it's that just like sort of stepping back from that feeling of identification with those things is so like palpable. That's been one of the most useful things, because I can sort of just show up at work and just do stuff and be, feel like, okay, this was whatever I did today, that was useful enough, like that conversation was productive enough, whatever, without kind of dwelling on, you know, um, dwelling on sort of what might be different. So that's been really nice. I've also tried to, I had been sort of hesitant about doing a couple things before, one of which was trying to start a more like actively reaching out to find like mentees or potentially kind of coaching clients for kind of in my field in sort of the design and technology industry. Um, and even in just the last couple of weeks have gotten now a brand new like coaching client who's paying me, which is awesome. And I've started doing like a twice a month twice a month sort of online kind of Zoom call, but like a sort of hosting a roundtable discussion with a group of people that I've kind of put together. And that's been really fun. It's like it's not just sort of like a hey, how's it going Zoom chat. I've been trying to think of it as like, here's a short sort of like, kind of activity discussion I can put together to kind of see how people are doing and try to kind of have like sort of open discussions about, where we are in our careers or our work or whatever. And so far those have been really good. Like I feel like I've been able to, it's always been something I kind of enjoy to sort of do that kind of facilitation, but I feel like I've been able to do these with like a little bit more of a like sort of leading from a place of kind of vulnerability and like with an open heart. And those are things that like I feel like I knew what those words were before, but had like I feel like I can sort of bring them a little bit more fearlessly now, which is nice, and I think has made like a really big difference in how these kind of conversations have been kind of perceived. Like I've got really great feedback about like, oh, this is a really worthwhile thing. Like I can't wait for the next one. So that's been really satisfying, and it feels like sort of having taken a little bit of a step in a direction that I definitely want to go more of in. But at the same time, not sort of, like kind of agonizing on like, oh, how can I make this happen sooner, or kind of, push something in a direction that's like that doesn't feel it feels less like pushing a rock uphill and kind of maybe pushing a rock kind of along a flat surface right now, which is a big difference. Yeah, those are the main things. I've really tried to do affirmations is something I had never really done before, but I actually have them like taped on the wall over there. There's like a piece of paper up there. And I've been trying to do those, and actually it is really helpful just to before a meeting or a conversation, just to like run through some of those. Like it somehow is really effective to like change the brain chemistry for the next 15 minutes. Like it's been really helpful in a way that I didn't quite expect. So that's been really nice. So yeah, mostly positive things. I'm there's a couple other friends of mine who I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the chance. How do I like make sure to bring this up so that I can like, okay, I got to tell you this story right now. Like, I'm so eager for more of those kind of opportunities. Um, uh, so far so good. I was really like happy to sort of be able to tell this experience to my daughter, who's 13, who was sort of, I was unsure of how she would take it. Um, uh, but she was sort of like just curious enough, and then was sort of like, okay, Dad, thanks, whatever, which is also fine. Like if she's sort of she was interested here, but not so interested that she wanted to hear me kind of blather on for a long time. But it was nice to be able to be like, oh, I can tell her about this, and it's sort of totally fine. Well, I'm trying to be a little bit less annoyed by things at work, especially. So like even just sort of, I don't even know if that was so much the like a physiological change of any kind, or just like, that sort of reminder of like, oh, I don't need to be identified with the feeling of, oh, what a hassle, I got to do one more thing for this meeting on Monday or whatever. Just being able to separate out sort of feeling, taking that personally and feeling, like sort of modestly annoyed by some schedule change or something. Like I can see those as like two unrelated things now, which is nice.